Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Market Chat. Today, we are joined by U.S. Investing Champion of 2019, Leif Soreide.
Woo!
There he is.
There it is. Look at that.
Thanks so much for being. Good to see you. Welcome to the show.
Hey, great to be here. You know, I was looking forward to talking to you, and we talked a little bit in sound check.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, you have that engineering background, so you're a real systems guy, and we're kind of talking about, I think there was a Zoom trade we did, right? Or we both did the same trade.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I scratched it when it rolled over and you took a full stop. So we'll talk about that. So you're getting right down to kind of like where it makes a difference for me. And, you know, you'll see all that later, I guess, if we get into some charts. So
100%. And we've got a lot to cover today. I plan to talk with you about stock selection, stops, setups, everything. But first, I want to ask a little bit more about your background and kind of how you got interested in trading stocks.
Well, I've always wanted to trade stocks, and, you know, I traded in high school very poorly, had a small account, blew it. Okay. Like everybody that thinks they're, you know, coming in hot, throwing money at the market, you know, very little system, but a lot of crazy, right? A lot of wild, like, oh, I'm going to double this and all that. So, you know, I paid that price quickly, and that's a good lesson everyone should learn. And, you know, from there, you know, I've been pretty good at it, but, you know, I got my MBA and I didn't have a lot of any startup capital or anything. So I ended up starting my own businesses. Sold several of them, different industries, and started securitiesLawyer.com, which is kind of funny. So, you know, the trend followers might appreciate this. So, you know, the trend was like the dead bottom, right? 2009, the market crash. You know, it was a good opportunity to start a law firm. It's a 50-state law firm that, you know, we help defrauded investors recover money from their stockbroker, financial advisor, and not like, you know, we don't go after people for market loss and stuff like that. We're talking about, you know, $1 million account where you have $800,000 in fees.
Yeah,
you know, that's not right. So we make people whole. I think it's something good that we do. So that's securitiesLawyer.com. Yeah, and I'm not a financial advisor or anything like that. This is, you know, just for entertainment purposes, whatever we're doing here. So
for sure.
All right.
And what kind of resources and books kind of helped you learn your way here? Because not everybody comes across CanSlim right off the bat, or Mark Minervini's SEPA. So how did you come across trend following and build up your own system?
Well, I always work with people that have, you know, the real systems people that trade E-mini, very technical stuff, to try to hone me in, right? And that's, you know, that's something that's really important. You know, I got the books behind me. You got, you know, Stan Weinstein's Secrets for Profiting, Bull and Bear Markets. You've got the O'Neill book, How to Make Money in Stocks, second edition. Zanger likes that one, so I like that one. And then, of course, you've got, you know, Mark Minervini's books. And, you know, Mark Minervini is like, you know, definitely like a mentor of mine, brought it all together for me, you know, put a lot of rules. And, you know, I'm not all over the place. You know, I know all the candlesticks, the E-mini, the volume profile. Every system, I pretty much know all that stuff. So, which is good to know, right? You want to know who's, you know, the other combatants on the battlefield, right? I mean, you want to know what everybody's up to. Yeah, but Mark really brought it together for me. And I only trade pullbacks, you know, VCP style breakouts, low cheats, and power plays, high tight flags, and everything else, you know, forget it. I'm not trading it.
And we'll get into that and the specifics, which I think is great. And I really appreciate you coming on the show, because I had Jim Ropel on the last time I did an episode, and he's more of a classic CanSlim position trader, right, and you're more of that kind of faster paced swing trader. So I think it's good. It's good for people to know that there's more than one way to play this game, even if you're trading the same stocks.
Yeah, and then there are different ways. You know, as I wound down different business interests I had, you know, I have more time to monitor things more closely, and I was more of a, you know, trend follower. So I totally get, you know, ATR based position sizing and following the big trends, because you can't watch it all day with wider stops. And now it's a little bit different. So
for sure. All right. So last year you won the U.S. Investing Championship. So why don't you tell us a bit about what made you actually go ahead and compete in that, and also what you got for winning?
All right. So what I got for winning was a certificate right here. You know, and the title. Look, the title is awesome. So I got this certificate of achievement, which is actually great. put it in a gold frame, so that's kind of nice, right? But you know, it's I guess, you know, I just wanted to challenge myself and, you know, have access to other traders that can see, you know, what I'm doing and things like that. You know, I talk with a little more with Mark now and stuff. So, you know, it's been fun, and it's just, you know, a lot of people, you know, will come around, elevate my game. You know, I can, you know, have access to better traders, and, you know, it's just a lot of fun. I do it for free, and often do, right? I mean, there's a lot of days you come and you, and you're giving the money to the screen. So, you know, I love it. And you know, it's something I'm going to always do no matter what. So, you know, but hopefully, you know, if I'm not supposed to be doing it, I'll have that sit out power, and we'll talk about that. And that's something in the contest that is very hard to do. And I'm sure you're going to ask about that or something too. To get into the contest, there was monthly reporting, right? So I was talking with Mark Minervini. He said he'd never seen anyone get up the first month and, you know, and then still win in the end. And that's to, like, you know, he's making sure no one's going to get discouraged. It's not up. And that's good advice. But, you know, I was the only one that was up the first month that won at the end. But I did, you know, completely terrible, made 100 mistakes. Like, I'm here not saying I'm a guru or anything. I make tons of mistakes. Okay, so we'll get into some of that. And that's just, you know, to help out the you know, investors like me, you know, kind of understand that you got to sit out when it's not right. And there's certain times. And that's the art. That's where we get into the art of the trading, right? Like, when to sit out, there's no indicator. It doesn't just pop up on the screen and says it's time to sit out. We're looking at the leaders. We're looking at stocks. You know, the index, I mean, you could take it off my screen. It wouldn't matter. Like, in the last few days, it's kind of going up, but not a lot of stuff is breaking out. There's no setups. You know, you got Zoom under the 50-day, right? This is one of the things we're just talking about. So a lot of stuff is rolling over that was working great. And, you know, we're going to see, and right now it's like protecting your money. So for me in the contest, it was all about the profit and loss is kind of what I look at. And not so much the stats and all that, right? You know, I kind of know what they are, but I don't want to say like, hey, you know, next time I take a trade, it's 50-50, it's going to work. Because you can get, you know, 10 losses in a row if you have a terrible market. Like 2019 was right off the low, it ripped. And then, you know, you had maybe a month. This one, I was up 20% the first month. You know, it wasn't huge, but it's a good start. And I was in the lead. And then, like, say, BioTech or something like that, you take a look at that chart. It's just slow drift lower, right? So when you're trading against that, you know, you'll find the breakouts. And like I say, I mean, you can find a breakout. I can find one any day of the week probably, but, you know, like in this market, it would be like a virus stock in, you know, a few months ago or something in that downturn, right? You don't want to buy that. You're not a genius for finding the one breakout. That's the thing you don't want to do. I mean, you just save your mental capital and keep your money safe. And it's all about profit and loss, protect the money. So when it comes back up, you can come in and really hit it hard, you know?
For sure. And before we move on too far, I also want to ask you about that mug, because there's an important lesson there as well, right?
Oh yeah, the mug. So here we go. This famous mug. It's sent to me from a Lehman Brothers, the actual person that worked at Lehman Brothers, but he got out. Timing's everything, right? He got out and got a much better job. I'm not gonna say where he went, but that was his mug, and he sent it to me. It's my other prize, with a note that said, what did it say? Congrats on your win. Let this be a daily reminder that your world can go to SHT on any given day, right? Not to demonetize you. And that's my prize, a used coffee mug. So it's a good reminder, you know. And I think Mark does something similar. I think he looks in the mirror and says something about how he can, you know, hurt himself badly every day or trading. I think he's kind of famous for saying that. So to have that reminder around is always good. First thing, right?
For sure. All right, so let's get into a bit of the trading strategy. And could you pull up a chart of the Qs or just the S&P 500 real quick?
Yeah, let me do a screen share. Hold on a second.
Yep. Because I want to ask you, because 2019, I mean, it was an up year. It was there were definitely great times to trade. But if you could scroll back and kind of look at the 2019 timeframe, because there were two pretty nasty pullbacks that you definitely had to negotiate with. And trading is not easy. You have to protect your gains during these pullbacks, and the first one especially. So, yeah, could you kind of talk through the year and kind of where your mindset was during each of these different time periods?
Yeah, so this is really tough and kind of embarrassing at the same time trying to trade against. So you have the index completely ripped off the low. So that's when I was up, okay? And then kind of consolidated. It had a couple drops. And, you know, I think there was some trade war stuff going on. And I mean, this isn't anything that's going to show you the growth stocks. This is the problem with this chart.
Mm-hmm.
This makes it look like it would be an easy year to trade, right?
Yep.
So, you know, there's a Medtech, BioTech thing here I wanted to show you. Hold on a second. Let me see.
Yeah, pull that up. All right. So here we have the BioTech, which Leif, you said you use instead of the Qs to get a sense of how growth stocks are performing. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, this is just something, the thing that tracked my performance the most was something like this. I mean, you had this rip off the low, right? So I was okay until March.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole year you have this drift, right? This drift down here. And then at the end of October, you know, it really broke this downtrend. And then right here, you know, everything ripped. And this is when I could compound those gains.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So this is, you know, yeah, in January, oh yeah, Leif's on Market Watch, he's in #1 and all that. And then of course I'm going to overtrade because it's, you know, messes with your head. It's like, you know, I'm going to like, you know, hold my beer. I'm going to win this contest real quick. Okay. This is just the saying. So, you know, you keep trying these trades and, you know, you get stopped out continuously. And, you know, at the end, it was just a series of little short base or rips up and, you know, compounding them. Okay. You take 15%, you put it into another one, 15%, then working into full margin, you know, by the end. And then it slowed down at, you know, Christmas Eve. It was kind of like, I was getting that feedback where I was, you know, not making any progress on my profit and loss. So, you know, that this just kind of shows, if anything shows that year, I mean, it's this, but you know, that's ancient history. So just remember, I mean, the real lesson here is like, when you have the tide going against you, which you can see on that chart, you know, you got to sit out or you got to trade small or just don't give it any room. I mean, if you're going to try a breakout and it comes back, I mean, I would have cut them faster, and I did at the end. So made some adjustments, and you know, it's worked much better at the end. So,
and during a period where it's like October 2019, where it's trending up nicely, are you letting your positions work a little bit longer than you would have, or are you still just kind of going for singles over and over again and really compounding your money?
Yeah, I mean, I like to sell some into strength. That's the main thing I want to do, right? So, if you get something working, and you see it extend like over where you think it would go, and there's no, I don't use a formula for it. Okay, this is what people don't understand. Like, what's your, you know, risk multiple where you start selling and all that? You know, it all depends on my profit and loss. Once again, I go back to that, right? So, how am I doing? What is working? And you know, how can I press those gains to my advantage? So, and if it's not working, you give less room. Okay, like right now, I'm almost cash. Have a few little positions that have given me no reason to sell, but I'm not giving any room. I might try something, but I'll take it right off. So, and I'll show you some I'm working on too later if you want.
Because even like sometime like today, where things were acting well in the morning, they fade a little bit by the afternoon, and you might be below your enterprise. So you got to be careful when all the growth stocks are pulling back and you see big drops on volume, like Fastly, gap downs. You have to respect that.
Yeah, I mean, so you have a great batting average, and then when it all rolls over, are you going to try 10 in a row and take 10 stops, or are you going to say slow down? That's the difference between somebody compounding their account and somebody that's giving it all back. So
very cool. And let me ask you this. So how do you find the stocks you want to trade? Are you using a screener in Marketsmith? Are you using FinViz? And would you be able to share any screens that you think would be helpful for new traders?
I'm using the trend template, you know, on Marketsmith. You know, it's Mark Minervini's trend template. You can use that for for swing trades. It's the 1 month and the 5 month trend template.
Mm-hmm.
And that has all his criteria in his books all in there, pre-screened. I have other custom screens for stock charts, which I probably could pull up and talk about. I'll draw on some charts and stuff, so show people what we're working on lately. But yeah, the power play high tight flag, I mean, you just want to scan, you know, names, and you put custom criteria, you know, the dollar amount of the stock, and, you know, you want something at least $5. I mean, you know, the average high tight flag according to the stats is about 12.16 from the ones Bulkowski studied. So, you know, that's the range, and you'll see, you know, what is this guy nuts? And, you know, buying, I'll show you Celsius, it's like a $17 one or whatever that was, and PRTS was maybe in the $8 range, NLS is in the $6 range. So, and then you want to trade them in context, you know, what patterns are working. And I want to see one go first, right? I want to see something start to work and kind of use that as sort of the gauge to see how to get in and look at the patterns that are working too, you know, what type of flag is working and all that. So that's a little, I mean, you can do that, you can do an hour call on that, but that's, you know, something to think about.
That's interesting, because the traditional kind of CAN-SLIM approach is anything under really even almost $20 is pretty much junk. So it's interesting that you are almost focusing down there, especially with the high tight flag. So are you mostly based on technical setup versus fundamentals?
Technical, yeah, it's got to have liquidity. I mean, if I do a tiny one, you know, I can't be more than 5%, 10% of the float, maybe the max, but I don't want to mess with that. You know, something with liquidity. It's got to. I like $1 billion plus, you know, market cap. You know, but I'll go less. You know, 250 million plus, and you know, it's got to be liquidity in there and stuff. People trading it. So
perfect. So why don't you bring up a recent high tight flag that you think kind of really exemplifies what you look for in a stock?
Yeah. Okay. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna do all this thing here. Okay. So this is NLS, right? So this is one that's we're buying this one. Get something up 200%, right? And then you have it coming in here, right? And then this volume brings it up, and that's your buy point, right? So that's the first one to go. And it was a little bit suspicious to me because I think of it more of like a virus play, right? But it's not, you know, not curing the virus. It's just, you know, new economy stuff. Like, so it's suspicious, but you know, this thing really, really ripped. I mean, this even gave me another. I mean, I think I got out of it wrong. Like, I got out too quick.
Mm-hmm.
I was not trusting. I was trying to book some gains there. But then you had this pattern here coming in like this. So I tried to get a pullback buy in right here because this thing was kind of low. And, you know, I think I got in about right in there, and I sold right into that. So just because it keeps going doesn't mean I'm not going to get back on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's something to think about, I guess. So
it's interesting that in the second pullback buy that you tried to do, the volume really dried up right before you got back in.
Yeah, you want to see the volume. The volume tells you everything. In fact, I mean, most people look for huge volume, right? That's what you want to see on the way out. But right before that, you want to see it real quiet because everyone's just done selling. Everyone's kind of accepting of this price, and somebody has to come in and knock it up. So anyway, this is Celsius. This is another one, right? So we have this one up. You can see my marks on there, right? When I'm doing that.
Yep.
So this is the flag here, and this put in this base, okay? And then you have obviously the contractions, which I love to see. I mean, so I can try to mark this up, boom, boom, like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you know, a lot of people will say, well, that's up 127%. Why do you want to buy that? Well, look at this. It's all dormant, okay? There's really, really nothing going on in this huge explosive energy. You see all that volume down there?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is interesting. There's something going on there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I was thinking about buying it, and somebody says, oh, they have the #1 drink on Amazon, right? So here.
There you go.
A lifetime supply now from this trade. So, all right.
So where yeah. I was just going to ask, where are you buying this? Where are you starting your position?
Yeah, I was going to tell you. Okay, so the volume comes in. I'm buying here on this volume day, right? Coming out, cheating a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
it's not perfect, this line, but somewhere in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we're selling into strength, and we can, I think I sold some there, I sold some there, and I think I sold the whole boat just maybe here in this area. Okay, so why didn't I hold a bigger percent? I mean, it's the old trend following rule. You're up 100%, you definitely, you can sell the whole thing or half or whatever. So anyway, this can tighten up again, and then we're going to get back on board again if this thing works. And I love to trade things where I have a big gain in it, right? Like this, I'll see this on my printout, see how much money I made there. Well, I can afford a whole bunch of stops, right? So mentally, that's good for me, right? So you don't sweat the stop so much because you've already earned it on that stock. At least for me, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. But money's money, but you can always get back on board, and this thing can go up 1,000%. I'll probably trade it as much as I can, but I'm not necessarily going to stay on it for the whole way, because, like this thing, it has a huge volume right there. And after this, okay, so even bigger volume. So maybe everybody owns it. Maybe they're going to sell it down or whatever. We're going to see what they're going to do. I don't know. I don't really know anything. I'm just trading what I see on the screen. I don't have opinions about the stock. I mean, there was a story there. We like a story, right? The #1 drink. I think they're in Publix and stuff. So anyway, I don't own that any longer. I sold that. So another high tight flag, I guess. Let me think of one. Okay. PRTS was a good one. Mm-hmm. And this is a low dollar stock. So the CanSlim guys say, hey, what's going on here? I don't know. Look, I've got no idea. I know it's car related. I know there's a lot of volume. I don't know what happened here. This didn't do anything. Mm-hmm. But this really tightened up. And this day didn't slip the previous day. I mean, I might have bought it right here,
Mm-hmm. On the reversal right there.
I would have bought it right here if it came out, right? But it didn't come out. So there's no buy there. So this is where we're buying. You see a bunch of volume slipping that day and that downtrend, right? And it's really tight. That's got the VCP to it also, which you really need to see. And
so could you actually go ahead and explain for people who maybe don't know, what is the VCP and how do you apply it to your everyday kind of trading?
Well, I hope I do it justice, but basically there's, volatility contractions in a pattern. Okay. So you contract and you do it less and less. And the whole idea behind that is the sellers are kind of getting tired and they're selling off less through this pattern. So as you can see through this pattern, you have this big up volume here. Well, it's a red bar, but whatever it is, there's a lot of volume coming into this name that just shot it up, however much this was. And you want to see how long it was in maybe 8 weeks. Okay, so you're talking about 368% that this was up, and I still bought it, right? I mean, it would have been nice to buy it right at the bottom, but like I said, I don't know anything. I don't know that's going to do that. I'm not just going to buy this, dormant stock that I know nothing about. It's not going to make, well, we don't have to because of what we just did here, right? I mean, we're up here and I sold right into that earnings right there. Another one. So, and on that volume there, it's, maybe a lot of people are in it. Maybe it needs another base, and then you can rebuy this breakout up here, Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, the volume, yeah, so the volume's coming out. Maybe I'll draw this for you. This makes more sense. It's coming in here.
So the volume's decreasing right there, yeah.
Decreasing, right? So you have very dead volume right before this up volume. This chart's starting to look like a mess. I love it. Oh, man. Yeah, so then you have this contraction, and then almost no contraction, right? So that's what you want to see. And yeah, I totally murdered the VCP here. This chart looks terrible now, but you get the idea, I hope. So that's good. Sorry, Mark.
No. I'm sure he'll be fine with your explanation. But
just Mark Minervini, yeah.
But during each contraction, you want it to get tighter and tighter, and there can be 3,
that's
there can be 4. And often they're about 50%. Is that right, Leif? They're about 50% the size of the last contraction. So if it drops 30%, the next one you're looking for about 15% drop.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really look for a percentage. You just want it less. You want it tightening up. Gotcha. Nothing's perfect except maybe that this is pretty perfect. I mean, look how tight that is at the end. It's almost suspicious that, if I had to take another look, I'd be like, is that a merger or something, right? I mean, that's when it stops moving completely, right? It's waiting for a merger or something like that. So that's that tight. So Yeah, and then you want to see another one? Let me see if I can think of one.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, EXPI is one I did too.
Mm-hmm.
And no one knew about this. That was why I loved it. I looked around, I'm like, what is this? I go, it's a REIT. I better not trade it. I don't trade REITs. I used to have, investment income REITs and stuff for, trend following and dividend income. But that was different. I've had every strategy. This is why it's like, finally, these are the better strategies, and I stay with it, and it works. So this one was, was it like 2 months? I think it was, what's 2 months? Something like that, over 100%. Let's just call it there. And this thing is just a real high tight flag looking thing here. So if you take that, I'll just put that there. Can you see my mouse on there too?
Yep.
Okay, so it's contracting in a way, and it's got to kind of undercut this right here, which is fine, right? So this is shaking out everybody that's already in it right here, right? So that's everybody stopped out. I like that. I like a good shakeout, right? Look how quiet this is. You see anybody buying, no one wants to sell. So, a lot of can slim guys, they look, if it dips below a moving average they use and there's no real volume, they don't sell, right? So this is, it did form up again, and then you had this large bar right here. So I'm buying right there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then I got this quick move of about a little over 20%. I sold half of it. Okay, and I just was free rolling the rest. I almost had to stop there, right? Because it came way in. But a lot of people are taking profits. They didn't expect it. And this is a cloud computing thing or something. I think it's miscategorized. That's how I made money on this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like cloud computing instead of, well, it's in the REIT section. You know what I mean? So I don't know. So totally miscategorized, and look at the move up here. From there, and the full move is like this. So I'm already out because that's the 100%. So when you get that, that's it.
For sure. A couple questions. So on that first buy, are you going all in right at once, or are you buying throughout the day? How do you pyramid into a position?
No, I'm buying the whole thing most of the time. But if I really like it, and now this is a mess, but you see here, this is another one. I didn't even notice this now that I see a buy point right here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Quiet volume and another flag, and boom. But that's short. We like more developed. How many days is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. A little short.
Mm-hmm. So
I didn't take it, but imagine that's a few days longer. That's like an ad spot.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something to think about.
And I know I myself had these days where the day where everybody's taking profits, that big red bar where you were already free rolling half the trade. What's your mentality like? How do you stop yourself from kind of panic selling, but you want to stick with that position?
Yeah, panic selling, you definitely don't want to panic sell anything, but you have to use what works for you. So, tight, quick stops work for me. Some people, they want bigger stops. I'm not telling anyone what I do is exactly right or perfect for you either. When I do a stop that's wide and I just watch it, I might even scratch it. Like right now, I've been scratching a bunch of trades, and I don't like to do that, but the market's a little squirrely. If I can't get it out, I get rid of it. So, like the best stocks, they say they get out and they stay out, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you have a huge, like this EXPI, if it's going to go 100%, somebody's there's some funds buying or someone.
Mm-hmm.
That's not your granny buying there with that volume. You know what I mean? So that really got out, and anyway.
Yeah, and let's see. So when you're selling, do you have specific profit targets, or it's really, like you said, just kind of the art, and you feel like it's extended, or how do you do it? Do you use moving averages at all to decide when you come out of the stock?
You want to free roll it as much as you can, but when it gets that extended 100% away from the averages, it's I tend to book it. If it just crawled up the average slowly and got there and dipped below a few times, I'd probably have to stop out. Like, it's all what's presented to me, and there's no rule. And what's the market doing? What's my profit and loss doing?
Mm-hmm.
Do I have money to like in poker, to bully the table, right? Or whatever that is, like, taking all the money and gambling a little more with it,
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's something people say, and it all depends on what I'm working with at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And the market conditions. If everything's rolling over, that's why you see all those ones. I'm just selling them this week because they're the last holding. So my drawdown was very little, and we're trading growth. So I have to kick those out. But then I have all these explosive power plays and high tight flags they're really in their own orbit. Okay. So they don't care about the market. But once I get certain profit targets and, I feel like it, like 100% that's a target, right? So you like 100%, I'll book it.
I think that's a key point that you just said. So even if the market isn't going up, it's maybe going sideways. If you see a lot of high tight flags setting up, or power plays as you call them, you'll go for it because you're finding setups that work for you, and that's your forte. So that's what you're going to take a swing at.
Right. And there's a lot of study on it. And we've talked about Bulkowski, Thomas Bulkowski. He has a book, what's it called? Encyclopedia of Chart Patterns. And but then he has a revised thing that came out. So it was the best pattern to like the 46th pattern. So, but some of his study shows only 19% of them fail to get out 5%. The other books said they all get out 5%. Mm-hmm. Basically, to me, they go the farthest. They have the most power behind them. Mm-hmm. So that's if I could trade anything and only that, it would be that. But there's not that many of them. That's the problem. Mm-hmm. So I'm going for other swings, and I could bring up some of those too.
Yeah, let's talk about. Do you have an example of a pullback buy that you've done recently? And could you kind of walk through your process with that? Because it definitely is a bit different than a high tight flag.
Right. So this is one, I bought this yesterday. It's called AVTR. Don't remember exactly what it is, but you have a perfect base that comes out, right? Mm-hmm. On volume, okay? And then you're coming and you're pulling back here, nice and quiet. Mm-hmm. But the market's a little squirrely, so I'm not hitting this too hard, and this is definitely one of them. There's another one. Whoops. NB, here's another one. Mm-hmm. So this it's a classic pullback buy. You have this perfect base, right? And everybody's going to miss this one. Mm-hmm. I don't know if, maybe you don't buy that into earnings. Okay, that's not a pullback buy. You're nuts if you buy into earnings. You're not supposed to. So then you have this right here, and then boom, right there coming out. Mm-hmm. That's the spot right there. And you have this volume kind of contracting there, not too many people want to sell it. And then in context, so we trade in context, right? This is what I'm saying about why is there a pullback? The whole market, the growth stuff got a little squirrely there, okay? So if it pulled in a few days, so along with the index, the ETF, whatever represents this one, it's pretty much a market pullback. It's not stock specific. I'm more likely to take it, especially if this was a great market, but I really don't like it right now a whole lot. So we're being very careful. Mm-hmm. And I'm not a market top caller. Don't say, oh, this guy called the top or whatever. Like I sold gold and all the gold stocks, like literally on the top and the next day. But if someone asked me this on Twitter, like, how did you know? Like, first of all, that's strength. It's way away from the moving average. It went much farther than I thought it was going to go. And then the next day it comes in, and then I'm already like, this is enough. It's skewing my returns. It's getting a lot of gain off of the gold stocks. And that's one of the hardest things for me to trade. So I just got real lucky getting into that. And that gold came out of a nice pattern. It went pretty far. And then showed like a little abandoned baby and all this, all this confluence comes together. You're just like, hey, you know what? That's enough. We'll take some profit here and, let it flag out a little bit more and see what happens, Mm-hmm. It's going to go without me most of the time, and I'll sell those high tight flags and, someone's going to say, hey, comment below, hey, idiot, this went up another 100%. You're so stupid. There's definitely someone that's going to think that, and they're right. But, I don't know anything. I'm just, chipping up as I go and, adding to the profits. So the best I can. And you don't always have profits, but that, it's been good. It's been really good lately. So.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit in our previous call about the confluence of indicators. So could you bring up all the that other indicator chart that you had with the ATR and all of that, and kind of go through?
Well, that's just kind of like every indicator.
Yeah.
And kind of the point is, it's not really the confluence of indicators, it's the confluence of systems coming together.
Gotcha.
Like I was saying, like there was an Amazon buy and I didn't have time to find it, but everything I could think of, maybe it was 2 years ago or something like that. Every system maybe someone can figure out the date it was, every service was buying it, every fund was buying it. It was just perfectly setting up for, maybe it was coming off the 50-day into a nice VCP and it was really tight and it was a breakout. And, it was just, that's the confluence of like, okay, everyone's going to go buy that. So that's something to think about. I mean, you want to think about what's going on, right? I mean, if no one's going to buy that and it's a terrible setup, you're not going to make any money,
Yeah. And going back to this pullback buy, just kind of talking through what I see, there's a perfect base. You've got a big gap up that probably a lot of people miss. Yeah. And then you have an orderly pullback to the 20-day. And I know somebody's going to ask in the comment section, how did you decide on the moving averages that you use?
Well, it's this 50-day, 200-day, and the, was that a 20-day? I don't know. I like the 21 EMA. It's a little faster. So, I'm not really using that though. I'm using the volume and the turn. Okay. It's just to guide me. I want stuff in an uptrend. And that, to me, I can just look at it and see it. And I know over the years, like through all the Stan Weinstein and everyone, I've hired different people to teach me their systems. And, I want to know everything that's going on, and there you go. It just keeps doing the uptrend. You're above all the averages, and then you have a pullback on one of the moving averages on one of the faster ones. This thing wants to go. There's something going on there. There's a bunch of volume, and I could be wrong. I could totally tank. Okay, but that's what the stops are for,
For sure.
Obviously not investment advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Disclaimer.
This is for educational purposes.
Educational purposes only, right? I gotta see down below in the link below. I don't have one, but we should get one.
I have a disclaimer down below. Don't worry, I've got us covered.
Yeah, I don't have a service or anything like that. I just trade my own money, so just FYI,
Yeah. So, all right. So as you're letting a position trend up, maybe you're already taken half your profits. What kind of red flags will you see that will make you sell the rest of it?
Yeah, the violations are, all the violations. You have big down days on volume. Violating the moving averages. Just basically rolling over and not continuing the uptrend, right? I mean, 10B, another couple of closes. I don't know if you can see my mouse, but you get below right down here. I mean, it's a different chart, right? But this decided to turn up, so that's worth a shot. But in this market, it might not work at all. I mean, unless the indexes look solid and some of this stuff is a mess. But we're looking at the textbook stuff. A lot of it is like, here's Zoom. I mean, this is like, if I say to short it here, people will probably go nuts. But, you got this huge move and it rolls over. You got lower highs, right? And then, it could form up, but it didn't. It took a leap off the 50 and now it's right in the 50-day moving average, right? So that's like a short spot right there. Or it just continues up and, I don't know. I have no opinion on if it's a good stock or whatever. Technically, this is where I'm definitely out below the 50-day. And this is the one that you said you bought, right?
Yeah, I traded it a while ago, right after it kind of broke its IPO high. So
I thought you got it. So here was a trade. I think I tried it right here also.
Okay, yeah, I did get stopped out. So I entered.
Yeah.
So there are a couple reversals down in that base, the short-term consolidation, and I bought off the one reversal ago. So just to the left. Yeah. So I bought initially. I'm trying to point here. That doesn't work. So you see the big up bar and then the two red down days, and then keep following that down to that reversal. Yep, right there. So that's when I first bought, but then I got stopped out on the second reversal after that, but I bought it back and then sold just recently for a loss, or no, for a small gain. But yeah, right now I'm out of this. It really has to come back above the 50-day for me to be interested in it again.
Yeah, so this thing came out right here, and I bought this, and it looked good, and you know, I scratched it right here. Okay, so I just protected the money. That you'll say, oh, that's not really a violation. Well, that's okay. I mean, I'll let it set up again. See it. There's a couple days like this, and I'm buying it right here. You know. Then there's, you know, I didn't lose any money. So that's something I did there, and maybe I sold one or two up there for McDonald's money is what I call it, right? I got a little spending. I got paid for my time on this trade a little bit. But nothing, I mean, it's not perfect. I'm not perfect. It's very difficult, you know, especially in this market. So anyway, so yeah, there's one I'm waiting on now. It's BRP actually. There's, I think they got earnings out. You want to look that up for me? They got earnings out?
Yeah, I'll look that up.
I'll bring the chart up. Wait, yeah.
Yeah, earnings the 13th. So let me see. I don't know if they've reported. So they reported today after the close, you think?
Yeah. Well, that's right now. I mean, I think maybe it's right now. We'll see.
Yeah, a 900% earnings growth, 55% sales growth, 12.7% after-tax margin growth. So pretty good numbers there.
What's the after-hours price?
Let me see. It's still right there. It's at
maybe
21.
It doesn't trade a lot after hours, so we'll see.
Yeah.
You edit the video, maybe it'd be a good day for me if it goes up. There's a lot of this. So this is an IPO, and IPOs trade them a little bit differently, but this is almost like if you ignore the beginning here, right? So obviously this is a washout and everyone stopped. And then, so I'm just going to say, hey, look, we're going to give it another try. Set up this nice VCP right here. And I'm trying to get as low as possible because I know I got to give a lot of room on an IPO. I mean, this thing is a little bit squirrely. So this is a lot of buying interest here. And then you're coming in here. So I'm buying this pull, get rid of that. I'm buying this. I was buying this pullback buy right here because it got a little bit of volume and it didn't go down. So you see this is a little higher low, right? And that's a little bit of guesswork, okay? But my stop is not that far away. So, you know, we're talking 50 cents to $1, something like that. And then we would try again. So I'm trying to work my way in the stock. And you say, well, why are you trying to do that? Well, it's an IPO and these things could really go. And you're seeing these big numbers up 900% or whatever that is. And then in context, we're trading in context. I have PLMR, which I just sold that the other day. But that's up huge in GSHD, KNSL. All these insurers are just exploding, right? And no one cares about this. And it's insurance related. I don't really know too much of the details about this name, but I'm trying to get in there, right? So then there's another buy point here. Well, that's actually, that didn't come out there. It's right here. You know, I think I bought a few there and then right there. And I think Mark put it on alert too, right in here. So yeah, there was a few buy points for me because I really wanted a bunch of size on this, and maybe I get completely smoked on this, even though it's up 900% earnings or whatever. We got to take a look. So, but anyway, so you can see if I'm in at 17, it's at 21. I have enough cushion, even though there's no options to gauge the options volatility because it's a new name. You just have to, you know, fingers crossed, right? Hope it goes up, and we'll see about that, I guess. After you edit this, you can comment below on how much I lost if it blows up. You know, we'll see. You know, other ones, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask. So on that trade, let's see, what was I gonna ask? Oh my god, I just forgot.
Probably how I'm managing it or something, right? I don't know.
Let's see. It was something to do with stop losses.
Yeah, the stop loss is tight. I mean, for an IPO, I got an opportunity for what I thought if it turned up would be a VCP. You have that little VCP action right there, which is and it's got these kind of hollow tops, sort of like what Amazon looks like right now. And when I see that, I just compare it in my head. I just think of other patterns, and Amazon's a pretty constructive look right now, actually, the same way.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, so then the stop is like right there, okay? So you want to see what kind of stop I'm working with. It's like, you know, pretty standard stop, like somewhere around 4 or 5%, you know? And then up here, I mean, it has to gap down 20%. Very possible, you know? So I have gains. I'm up nice, so we're gonna let it ride. We're gonna let a few ride. This one's very constructive, and we'll see how it goes. And let's see. Yeah, other ones, I mean, I don't know how many charts you want to do. Feel free to.
No, this is great. Apps has been on fire, so this is a good one to go over.
Yeah, this is one that I sold way early, right? So then you have, where did I buy this? I mean, I think this, so this is real dormant. Once again, dormant, okay? So you got this long dormant state, boom, up 150 or whatever it is, and then you have the, the high tight flag power play forming. I think it took out the low here, right? And then bounced. I like that. That shakes all the people that are holding here, thinking that, you know, yeah, I know where your stops are too. You know, if you know all the systems, this looks better to me because of that stop, you know? So everybody stopped there. And then it's quiet. Look how quiet this is. You know, your volume is real quiet, and then boom, it comes out. I think I bought it right there, and then got a little too creative, I think, when I just sold it right there. And then look, I missed out. You know, that's where the crystal ball is broken, or there never was one, right? Because, I mean, I didn't know I'd miss out on this too. So there's that. All right. Oh boy.
And on the buy, are you buying as soon as it crosses that level that you're watching? Or are you waiting 30 minutes into the market after all that noise comes?
Yeah. You want to give it a few minutes, make sure it holds, but you don't have a real rule. It's, you know, definitely not the first 10 minutes or 15 minutes. You gotta see how much volume comes in on the name. If there's, you know, people smashing it, I'm gonna tighten up on the time frame I can get in, you know. So
and let's see, can you bring up FUTU? This is one that was kind of in the similar vein to this that I actually traded.
Yeah, I traded this one too. Let me see, where the heck did I buy this? I can't remember. I think I did a pullback buy on this, or let me see. I think I bought it in here.
Yeah, same here.
Let's see. Yeah, so we had this nice kind of dry up and I don't know. I think I bought it here. I got to remember. So the volume might not have been exactly what I wanted, but it just broke this downtrend. I was selling here and here, and it's, you know, why? I don't know. I took some off there, and then, you know, it's got that railroad track look to me. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I did pretty much the same thing.
You got to make yourself, you got to get a reason to sell it. That's not a good look. So I sold it, you know, coming back in, it takes out that high and comes in, and you book some profit. I mean, this one, this one's not perfect. It's a Chinese name, right? So after LK, I'm a little more careful. And I wasn't in LK, but you know, those ones, they get delisted, right? This is a Chinese name. So the sizing is obviously your position size. It's got to be a little more careful, right? Yeah, there's one today that I was trading just to look at it. This is another one here, right? Here's an IPO base. I mean, it's got that kind of a contraction in it, right? Coming in here, then you have this day. This is where I'm buying. I think I'm buying here, yeah, because it took out this high right there. And I'll make a diagonal line. I'll make a perfect straight line or anything like that. And it's all in context. That's when the volume was. Someone, a fund or whoever decided it's worth something, and I just sold most of it from 44 up to here today. So
nice.
Yeah, it's not a stop. That's good, right? So yeah, and maybe I'll show. So I don't want to show all good ones. I just realized I'm like, you know, I only make money. No, it's like, here, I waste my time too. Look at this one. Sometimes they don't work, right? So you have this one. This comes up here, okay? It's well, no. So this is coming here. So 2 months, somewhere over there. Let's just call it 100. I don't know what it is. I might even cheat on that one. So this one came in here.
Mm-hmm.
And I might have even bought here, but it didn't, you know, the stop is like down there. So it came out there. I think I sold a little bit up here, but, you know, I got the full round trip, you know, so not so good. Right. So I got out there, then you say, oh, well, you should have sold. Oh, I should have sold up there. But you see the other ones, I'm trying to play for a bigger move on something like this, you know,
Mm-hmm.
with all this power coming in here, this is like something's going on there. And I'm playing, you know, yeah, right up there would have been a better sell spot right at the top. And I hope this, you can see all these arrows with the
Yep.
video on too. Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. So there's that one. I mean, what else can I show? You know, then there's the questionable ones, right? SONO. Is this right? Yeah. This one's a little bit questionable. I don't know if it comes up 100%. Maybe I'm playing it to this point here. Yeah. And then 2 months. It might not even be the full distance. So I might have even messed this one up and just bought it because it was coming out here on volume, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then boom, you know, you get totally knocked out. So, and that happened with SII too, which I actually tried again today. It's actually, oh, it looks good at the end of the day. I bought it in the coming out this morning, and Mark put it on. So I'm seeing some of the same stuff as him, obviously. And I gave him this idea before, and we put it on, or he put it on. I don't put it on. I talked to him about it.
Mm-hmm.
Right here, okay. And look at this. This looks good, okay. But that's a full stop.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Stops happen, right? But you know what? I'm flushed out. Everyone else is probably flushed out. You got another buy point, you know, right there. So,
Mm-hmm.
and the volume was okay. You know, this is holding up for some reason, and you have a move that it's not quite a high tide flag though. This is a problem, right? So, you know, this is like 70%, and this is maybe where you know, just pushing it a little bit, finding something that's you don't have to trade. You don't have to trade everything, right?
Mm-hmm. So
I'll do one more about the context and the pattern matching, which I think you were interested in, right? So
mm-hmm.
you take this TTD, right? I mean, look at this pattern. It's got this little VCP, and it's got that shakeout, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it has this monster run, and these things kind of repeat themselves, obviously, but you know, not exactly the same. You have this thing, the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
a little bit longer, coming in like this with this shakeout. So all the stops are run, and then you know that you don't buy it right there because this is kind of squirrely now, right? You want it to, you know, it has to reset and get tight. And I don't even know where I bought it. I bought it trying to come out here, I think, and then, you know, sold it right into, I think 105, which is a little early, but this was a swing, you know, and it wasn't even that great of a trade because the stop was, you know, had a wide stop, and it was quiet. All the volume was quiet, so nothing went wrong. And I was kind of expecting it to do that based on, like, you know, the patterns I've seen in the past doing a similar thing. So
Mm-hmm. When you actually go in and make a buy, what are you looking for in terms of volume run rate or price action? You want to go through the level, but how much volume is enough volume for you?
Well, it's got to be the perfect buy point first. Okay, so it's got to be coming through a pivot, and it's got to be going up. Like when I buy a pullback, it's not going lower and touching the 50-day or something like that. It's got to be coming up through a pivot.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's doing that, well, pullbacks, I don't look for so much volume on pullback. That's more of the price action. But on a breakout, you know, you do want to see the volume come in 100%, 150%. I maybe only had one buy that the volume was so crazy before it broke out on that day. It was like 1,000% of the daily volume, and something was going on, and it was the easiest buy ever. So, you know, that's what you want to see. If you can see a whole bunch of volume coming in and it still hasn't broken out, but it's getting there, that's definitely going to be high on my list to buy with size.
Nice. And would you mind going over to Marketsmith and then showing people how to find Mark Minervini's a 1 month and 5 month template.
Sure. You see it okay on the screen?
Yep.
Yeah, you go to stocks, technical, and trend template. Boom.
And this is where you find most of your ideas.
Yeah, the 1 month is you're going to find a lot more of the high tight flags and power plays, and you can sort them by volume if you want to see, what's this one doing, right? 2,000% of daily volume. It's that's a dog. Ignore that. I'm not sure why that's on there. That's probably a mistake. I mean, that's
you're back at the first of 2020. That's why I think.
Oh shoot! There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's.
It's probably a bit more exciting now.
I'm fired. What can I say? All right. There we go.
And breaking out of a nice base right there, actually.
You're buying things on the wrong year. I'll have quite a day doing that. Okay. So that broke out of a nice base that the volume came in. That's interesting. But there's not a pivot there. This is like more the Can Slim IBD stuff. I don't buy anything that doesn't have a pivot at the high. I'd rather be buying like a cheat or something. It's got to have that pivot. So then the 5 month is down below, and these are more. It's going to be more typically swing trades and things like that, and things that are in uptrends, and it's going to randomly. So you sort by volume. You want to see what's going on the most today, or sometimes you want to look at what's the most quiet, right? If you find a really quiet, so you have the pocket pivot. That's what pocket pivot's popular. What about like the reverse pocket pivot? Okay, I'm just going to invent this right now. And probably someone has credit for it, but the opposite of that, the lowest in 10 days in a nice pivot. Okay, there's nothing you buy with that. You don't buy that, but the next day, if it's coming out, that means something, right? Everybody's kind of like accepting this. No one needs to sell, and then big volume out of that, somebody wants it. So interesting. Something I've changed a lot with my strategies. I'm really reading both low volume and high volume, and it means everything, especially in context. And if you have a day that sells off quite a bit, all the growth names get blown up, and there's a name that just doesn't, no one's selling it, and it moves very little, and it's in a perfect pivot, and then everything forms up again and comes out, it's a good buy, potentially.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that's a great place to end it. So Leif, thank you so much for being here. And do you have any like kind of final inspirational words for all those people who are just getting into this and are trying to master swing trading?
Well, if you're going to master it, it's going to be a lot of years. And, you remind me of a young Tom Basso was an engineer, right? And you got to do your career. And then eventually, if you love this so much, you're going to come back to it. So, I always traded and, built up the money to trade with, and did everything I want to do with my business career. But I love trading. If you love it and you love it, you got to work on coming back to it eventually, because it's not like there's a trading job they're going to give me. I have an MBA in finance or whatever. No one's giving me a trading job out of school. Okay. I mean, I have friends that did, but that was not going to happen for me being, with no internships and all, I no background and all that. So I had to invent my own education, and, it definitely speed up your learning curve. Like I've paid a lot of great traders to teach me all their stuff. Okay. And I don't even use all of it, but it's just, it goes back to the confluence when I know different systems are lined up and you have better trades up, raise the odds slightly, you kind of see what's going on. You got to work on your sit out power. You can't trade all the time. If you're doing my system, I mean, I don't know, maybe there's systems you can, day trading, that's different. I don't do that. E-mini, I've done a volume profile. I know all that. That's not what I do. I actually use some of that on the charts just to get a better look at it, but that's a different system. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, use alerts, obviously. Don't drive yourself crazy. Just react to things and have a plan. Don't call audibles, and you got to set profit goals. I'm all about the profit and loss, and when I hit a goal, I really try not to lose it. I mean, that's what you want to do, and and when you're learning from someone, you got to come with an open mind. You got to, when you're learning from someone, don't bring all your bad habits to the table, and otherwise you're never going to get it. I mean, you have to be open-minded and ask how they think. Don't ask for stock picks, okay? Like, no tips and all that, forget that. It's all about how you think in the process. And you definitely want to cut your losers early, right? And then, ride those winners. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to go through there, and just learn, and, protect your money and be very careful.
Yeah, for sure. And I want to thank you for kind of giving a swing trading perspective as opposed to Jim Ropel, who is more the classic position trader. Hopefully people who are trying to find their way, I mean, it's all about your personality, and this suits you the best, and this is the system that works for you, but it's not going to work for everybody. So just pick the one that kind of just clicks. But thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate.
Thanks for having me. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we appreciate your knowledge, and you can be reached on Twitter, right? I'll have your username. Yep. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like down below and comment if you have any questions or comments for Leif. I'll relay them over to you. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in future videos.
Thanks a lot.